Thanks, Riaz. Good morning. Canada's four main political leaders were center stage last night during the very first debate of the 2015 election campaign. And at times, it was a bit of a free-for-all.
Here's a surprise for you. Larry Campbell's endorsed me in my riding. Just thought I'd throw that in.
I'm afraid we got to say bye-bye.
Stephen Harper, Tom Mulcair, Justin Trudeau, and Elizabeth May spent 2 hours covering topics ranging from the economy and security to foreign policy and the environment.
We made rules for RIFs. We need to be clear on what is being proposed. The other parties are proposing, literally, tens of billions of dollars of additional spending, permanent spending, to be financed by permanently higher tax rates and permanent deficits.
That's not true, Mr.
And
Harper.
the fact is, Paul, we know where that leads. You look around the world, countries that are in that position have not recovered from the recession and are stagnating. This country has had the best performance of major developed economies, and we have some of the best prospects going forward, and that's why we should stay on course.
What Mr. Harper fails to mention is that he's run up 8 deficits in a row. He's added $150 billion to Canada's debt in the last 10 years. And frankly, last week, as we headed into this campaign, in just one day, he spent over $1 billion. Honestly, Mr. Harper, we really can't afford another 4 years of you.
You can, with all due respect, Mr. Prime Minister, the only
By most accounts, last night's debate produced no clear winner and no loser. It was Harper's 5th leaders' debate, May's 2nd, and the first for Mulcair and Trudeau.
I think that British Columbia was well represented by Elizabeth May in particular, who really went after Tom Mulcair and tried to force him to define his position with respect to Kinder Morgan, which is, of course, really a landmine for the NDP. As we know, Adrian Dix opposed it, and he lost the last provincial election. Basically, the cleavage in this province between environmentalists who don't want pipelines and tankers and oil spills and people who want resource-based development, LNG.
Another political debate was held in the United States last night for the Republican Party's presidential nomination. Donald Trump got the lion's share of attention.
Because our leaders are stupid, our politicians are stupid, and the Mexican
It was just one of several jabs Trump made from his podium on center stage in Cleveland, Ohio. 10 frontrunners were invited to take part in the proceedings, which were hosted by the Fox News channel. Back to local news. Safety concerns are once again being brought to light following a massive crash on the Patello Bridge last night involving almost 30 vehicles. Just before 6:30, a car traveling northbound somehow straddled the center line and drove over a number of pylons. Dozens of vehicles were struck by flying dividers. The bridge was closed in both directions for several hours. Luckily, no one was seriously injured, but one woman was taken into custody.
She just slammed through the poles, and ours was the first car. I thought she's almost hitting me, and I slammed brake, and the poles, it just came, smashed the windshield. It smashed the other cars. They were almost like, I would say, anywhere between 15-20 cars that got damaged. She went all the way, throwing all the poles in the center, and took off.
The mayor of New Westminster says this is just another example of why the 78-year-old bridge needs to be replaced. TransLink has announced the Patello will be undergoing renovations starting next summer. Construction will last 18 months. An ESL tutor has been charged with sexual interference involving a 12-year-old girl on Vancouver's west side. Police say 70-year-old Christopher John Adams was hired to teach the girl after she arrived in Canada 2 years ago. Since he has been released on bail with conditions, investigators believe there may be other victims who have yet to come forward.
He did advertise through both online and through local newspapers in the Chinese Canadian community. He didn't use an alias per se, but he may be known by other names or variations of his legal name. So his name is Christopher John Adams. He may go by Christopher, he may go by Chris, he may go by John, or variations of that.
TransLink is cutting the number of bus zones across Metro Vancouver from 3 down to 1. A one-zone fare is being introduced as part of the long-delayed rollout of the embattled Compass Card program, which has experienced a lengthy delay. Having multiple fares would have raised complications with the system, requiring transit users to tap out when leaving buses in order to not be overcharged. The change will come into effect on October 5th.
Currently, 80% of all of our bus routes are already Zone 1. Now, 100% will be Zone 1. The change we're announcing today means that one-zone buses includes Handy Dart, and it will be effective all times, all day, every day.